Good times. Goonie. Goonisha. Good times. Ain't we lucky we got them? Keeping your head above water. Making a way when you can. Temporary layoff. Good times. Ain't we lucky? Ain't we lucky we got them? Goonie. Goonie Joni. Ain't we lucky we got them? Good times, Goonie. Or you prefer Joni. Making a way when you can. Standing, what is this? Scrapping and surviving? Good times. All right. Before I get into my reaction to the recent IAG Farms video, I think it was a video about we took a risk. But before I get into that video, I want to definitely shout out you guys that have been active in the comments, keeping that dialogue flowing both ways, keeping that commentary going. Definitely want to shout you guys out. I do need to recognize you, the heavy Tim followers. I see you guys in the comments, especially you, Joni. Joni. But I hear you guys. I hear you guys in the comments talking about Captain. Some captain you are. And there I see what you guys are saying. Captain, leave the children alone. I hear you guys talking about, sure, the parenting might be faulty. The schooling might be subpar. Those children might be getting miseducated. Those children might be heavily involved in some child labor. But leave those children alone, Captain. And I'm like, hold on now, hold on. I watch the videos just like the rest of you guys. And we do understand that some individuals in society are what we call mandatory reporters. Look it up. Look it up. But some folks are mandatory reporters. They can't look the other way when it comes to children. And oh, by the way, in our school systems these days, there is what they call, if you see something, you say something, with regard to child safety. And so child safety is paramount. And so it's hard. It would be hard for us observant viewers to look the other way, the same way that you steady Tim supporters do. But I hear you guys. And I'm like, well, with my coach Tim, y'all's pastor, considering that he's already on the CPS radar, he would understand that there are people that are watching. Okay, those things that he chooses to publish, even after going through his heavy editing sessions, those things that he chooses to publish are either things that he's proud of or things that he is blind to with regard to those children. And I just want to remind my coach that there's a rumor that those CPS files never get closed. Maybe they'll let the child age out, but there's a rumor that those files never close. The investigation might close, but there's a rumor that those files stay open indefinitely. And so I would caution my coach to be careful about what he's publishing. For you heavy Tim followers, you can cover your eyes. But for the rest of us, that whole don't ask, don't tell movement, that movement is over. It's really all about now that if you see something, you say something. And when Tim had his comments open, there were people that were saying things. They were offering him some advice with regard to the children. And I guess Tim he got tired of being bombarded with that feedback, and so he shut it down. He said, hey, if you guys want to offer me some feedback, if you want to offer me some pointers on how to deal with my own children, okay, send me an email. And I know some of you guys are like, well, whatever Tim does with his children is his own business. Not so. Not so. What he does behind closed doors is largely his own business. But what he chooses to publish with regard to those children, it's not his own business. And he cannot do whatever he wants relative to those kids. So I'm sorry. You ready, Tim writers? Even though I hear you guys in the comments, I'm sorry. I can't fully cover my eyes on that issue. But I hear what you guys are saying in the comments. You guys are wilding. So I'm going to keep on digressing. Welcome back to the end game, where today I'm going to provide my reaction to the recent IAG Farms video, which relates to them taking a big risk, I guess, with them moving down to the farm. So I'm going to provide my reaction here. Early in the video, Tim rehashes the decision to homeschool the boys. And he talks about how they made the decision to downsize Megan's hours at the college. And he talked about how he made the decision that he would quit his full-time job. And I'm like, okay, coach, hold on now. Megan downsized her hours so that she could homeschool the boys, so that she could lesson plan, so that she could deliver education for the boys hands-on across 3 different age groups, 3 different curriculums, 3 different skill levels, 3 different aptitudes, 3 different attention spans. So she downsized, but you decided to quit your full-time job completely so that you could do what relative to the homeschooling, Tim? We've yet to identify any tangible role that you have within the homeschool cycle, the homeschool process. I mean, other than wrenching those boys from homeschooling from time to time, other than disrupting their education from time to time, other than forcing them out onto these bootleg homeschool vocational education field trips from time to time, we have not identified any valuable role that you play in the homeschooling process. And so how in the world does Megan cutting back her hours, how does that equate to you quitting your full-time hours so that you could be full-time relative to homeschool or even relative to the farm? Because by your own admission, even though you try to cover it and tuck it away from time to time, by your own admission, it's been a couple of years since you've done any farming. Okay, so you quit your full-time job really to do what, Tim? And now, us observant viewers, we know why you quit that job. And we know what you quit it for. And we know what you're doing with your time, what you're really doing with your time. We know it has nothing at all to do with farming. But okay, coach. Okay, coach.
We want to raise our kids, or we don't want our kids to be socialized or developed by other 5-year-olds. We want them to be raised by us. It's God's will for us to raise our children, not to put them off on teachers. And we don't want our kids to be socialized or developed by other 5-year-olds. We want them to be raised by us. It's God's will for us to raise our children, not to put them off on teachers, and put them off on after-school programs. And I know sometimes, we don't have a choice, but we do. because Megan and I had to make a decision. We made some hard decisions, and people thought we were crazy. I'm not talking about y'all. I'm talking about like family and things like that. When we took our kids out of public school, we took them out of private school, and we started homeschooling them. And at that time, Megan was still working full time, and we downsized her hours, you know, to where she started working part time. And I just quit my job altogether, you know, and I went full time on the farm, and we started pursuing this vision and this mission that we felt like the Lord wanted us to be on, to homeschool our kids, to build and develop a farm so that we can have enough to give to those who have need. And we were still ministering in the city at that time, and so I was full-time pastoring as well.
Later on in the video, my coach Tim talks about how they were pioneers. Tim, people have been hustling for decades, okay? There ain't nothing new about hustling. It may take some new forms, but certainly you guys are not pioneers when it comes to hustling. But you talk about how you were pioneers coming down to the land and about how you came down with nothing. And I'm like, hold on, huh? Hold on. Didn't you come down to that land with investor money? Didn't you come down with donations from the donors? How is that coming down with nothing? And didn't you move down with that big old fancy RV trailer? A pretty nice trailer, I might add. I know in recent days you tried to focus on that beat up raggedy old camper. But those of us that are longtime viewers, we remember the RV, and it was a nice RV. But do we remember that? And so how is that coming down with nothing? Just because you made the decision to sell that and to squeeze your family, to suffer your family into that little raggedy camper, that was your choice, okay? You can't erase history. I'm sure that you have many new viewers that are not aware of it, but you had a fancy RV before you had that raggedy old camper, and that was your choice. And so I'm not sure how that implies that you came down with nothing. Now, you also mentioned that back then when you guys came down as pioneers, Megan was required to scrape up her grit. She was required to man up, grit up, because it was what was required of her in order to get that land going, to get that land functional. And now that you guys have finally settled in, now Megan can start tapering back on the amount of back-breaking work that she does. You talk about the fact that due to her impending hernia surgery, now is a good time for her to start scaling back her workload. And we're like, hold on, Tim, now. From what I understand, she developed that hernia after Noah was born, after the third pregnancy. And so now, would not that have been the optimal time for her to cut back on her grit, her back-breaking labor, her manual labor? Would that not have been a better time for her to scale back, Tim? But, I mean, I guess we have to be grateful that you're even considering scaling back at all, okay? And I have to assume that those emails, AKA those comments and those reaction channels, have started to have an impact on you. They've started to impress upon you the importance of caring for someone other than yourself and putting forth a little bit of care and consideration toward Megan and her hernia and the fact that she's a woman in general. Yes, you may dress her up to look like Bob the Builder, but she's a woman. Yes, and she's the educator of those boys, and she's the nurturer of little Benjamin. Her plate is heavily full. And so for you to finally say we're going to scale it back because of the hernia surgery, that's the only reason you're scaling it back, Coach? Come on, Coach. Come on.
And we're trying to get into this season where we don't, require as much of Megan. And we're trying to get into this season where we don't, require as much of Megan and kind of settle in, because like I said, it's been pretty intense over the last 2 years, and that's all foundational. We were pioneers. Like, we are pioneers. We came down here with nothing, with an unfinished camper, and we didn't bring anything, like nothing. We didn't bring nothing but our truck, but our cars and that camper. That was it. You know what I'm saying? Everything else was from scratch. Like, we were modern day pioneers. And so we need there was a certain grit that was required of Megan, throwing hay bales, throwing bags of feed, helping build barns, helping build houses, things like that. There was a certain grit that was required of Megan, throwing hay bales, throwing bags of helping build barns, helping build houses, things like that. So now at this point, we're kind of, tapering off of having Megan do so much. And so I was like, especially because she's about to get ready to have this hernia surgery. So we're kind of tapering off, letting her wean Benjamin from breastfeeding and all those type of things. And
shortly after, Titus shows off their brand new good hats. And I guess Tim goes around with the camera from one child to the next, and they show off their hats. And Titus jokes that, hey, now that we have these good hats that one of the donors sent us, not that our daddy, not that Papa bought us, but now that we have these shiny new hats that one of the Steady Tim supporters mailed us, now we don't even have to respond if someone asks us how we're doing. All we have to do now is just put our head down and point to it. The hat says good. And I'm like, holy moly. Talk about socialization. And Coach, do you really think it's sufficient for those boys to get their only socialization during the very few times over the course of the year, maybe over the course of a month, that you go to visit those Christian farmers, those good Christian farmers? Do you really think that's going to be sufficient socialization for your boys? I mean, I'm not sure if that's going to be enough, but if you like it, Coach, then I say good. Or should I say good? The IAG Farm for the miseducated. Little Benjamin, you better start studying now, little Benjamin. You better start studying now. Learn all you can now while you're youngest. Learn the most now while you're youngest. Because soon school is going to start. Yes. And so begins the process of teaching yet another son to be miseducated. Study now, little Benjamin. Learn while you can.
I got one with you so far.
No, I got 2 more in there for ready to come out.
Oh, good. All right, I'm gonna get loaded up.
All right, Tim J's already after.
Oh.
All right, John, come on out.
What's up, bud? You ready for this?
Yeah.
Good. What's up, bud? You ready for this?
Yeah.
Nice hat. How you doing?
Good.
Good. Tim, how you doing?
Good.
Good.
You don't even have
No. How you doing?
good.
Good.
You don't even have to say good. Just do this.
Got it on your hat. Yep, just point at your hat. Yep.
You don't even have to say good. Just do this.
You got it on your hat. Yep, just point at your hat. Yep.
A bit later in the video, Rango the goat makes a special visit to the IAG pigsty. And I'm not talking about the pig pen or the mini barn, but Rango makes another visit. And of course, Tim thinks, oh, Rango's coming by to see us. When in fact, Rango's coming by. Clearly, Rango's coming by to check up on Lily, the sheep. Okay, he's coming to check up on Lily to see if she's still on the block. He heard that Lily had some difficulties. He heard that Lily got rammed by that work boot and then fled. by that shed shack. And so, first of all, he's coming to check up on Lily. Secondly, he's stopping by because he's like, well, let me see how it's going with Boaz. Where is Boaz? And we're like, okay, Rango, you better make it a short and a quick visit, because Tim is quick. He's quick to put his pets up on the wall. Yes. He's showing a lack of respect for his neighbors. And so if you turn your back, Rango, if you turn your back on the way out, we know that my coach is liable to send you to freezer camp. He's liable to get you butchered and get your head up on the wall. Yes. He's known for putting pets' heads up on the wall. Rango, run, Rango, run.
All right, y'all, me and the boys were talking about names for pigs, and we looked over, and we have a special visitor. I guess he heard all the commotion, too, and he had to come over and see what's going on. Right now, he's enjoying eating all our leaves, but Rango has paid the farm a visit again, so we're going to have to call Miss Becky and let her know that Rango made his way out and over the fence.
He's just coming to check on his farm family next door.
Oh, yeah.
See what's going on. And most of y'all probably saw the video where he came over, and we know who the owner is. Mm-hmm. So like I said, he's just visiting. He's a friendly little goat, little picnic goat. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's no rush to call the owner and tell him that he's here. We can get done doing what we're doing, let him help out with farm chores. It's no rush to call the owner and tell him that he's here. We can get done doing what we're doing, let him help out with farm chores.
All right. That's it for my reaction to that recent IAG Farms video where Tim talks about taking a good risk or a big risk or what have you. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Chop it up in the comments. Big old Tim, Burner Tim in the heavies. Get up in the comments. Do what you do. Nosy Nelly, aka Goonie Junie. I already have a place saved for you. Yes, I expect to see you present as usual. I want to shoot out some love to my current subscribers. Thank you for showing me that love. For those viewers that are not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing so that we can continue to shine that light. Until next time.